Hi everyone, and welcome to Southlake's Cardiovascular Prevention and Rehabilitation Program stretching video. My name is Megan, and I will be demonstrating some stretches for you today. Feel free to follow along with me. We will be covering most of our major muscle groups throughout these stretches. Stretching on a regular basis will help improve our range of motion and our balance. So it's important to stretch as often as possible. You will get the most benefit out of these stretches if they are done daily. And the tools that you'll need for these stretches today is a simple chair, a stool, or a couch, anything that you know won't slide away from you while doing these stretches. We want to make sure that we're holding on to the stool, chair, or couch while doing them, just for our safety. Our stretching session today will be roughly 15 to 20 minutes. Each stretch is going to be held for anywhere between 10 to 20 seconds. If you feel any pain or have any injuries to any joints or muscles, I prefer you not to perform these stretches, and you can sit out until we do the next stretch. A few pointers before we get started are making sure that we warm up prior to the stretches. We want to make sure that we're not stretching any cold or stiff muscles just to prevent any injuries. Make sure you breathe during all these stretches. It's very, very important that you do not hold your breath. I will, every once in a while, remind you to make sure you're breathing in and out as we do the stretches. Another thing to remember is to hold our positions very still while we're stretching. One common thing that people might want to do is jerk or bounce to stretch further into the position. Unfortunately, that's not going to give us any benefit. We want to make sure that we hold these positions very still. Lastly, we want to make sure that we're always making sure that we're keeping our head above our waistline. This is for the safety of our heart. So we want to make sure that each stretch will always remain kind of up in this upright position, especially during these seated positions as well. And that's why we do have this chair, so that we avoid any of these upside down positions. All right, so let's start with our warm-up. So it can be just a marching on the spot simply. And another good way to warm up is maybe going for a quick walk. You can go for the walk around your house, things like that. But just getting our muscles moving, getting the blood flow to all these muscles that we're about to stretch. You can get those arms moving, get the arm circles moving as well. Change the direction of our arm circles. So I'm just marching kind of back and forth on the spot. Feel free to do whatever you feel comfortable doing. Good. While we're marching, we can get some shoulder circles. Change up that direction of those shoulder circles. A warm-up can be about 5 to 10 minutes, whatever you feel comfortable with again. And we can kick our bums now. This can be done on the spot or walking around. Next, I'll just do some high knees. Again, you can hold on to a chair for balance if you wish. All right, so I feel pretty warmed up right now. Now the first stretch we're going to do is for our quadriceps. So this is the front of our thigh muscle, and we're going to be using the chair. So facing the chair, you can hold on with one hand, and then the other hand I'm going to reach down towards my ankle. If I can reach my ankle, that's great. You're going to grab onto it and simply just making sure that our hips are facing forward. If it's difficult for you to grab your ankle, not a problem. You can grab the end of your pant leg and hold on to that. Sometimes people find it easy if they bring up a chair behind them and rest their foot up on the chair too. Again, making sure that you're breathing through the stretch. Once you've held that for about 20 seconds, you can reach down towards the other ankle. You should feel this stretch in the front of your thigh. Very good. So our next stretch is going to be for now our hamstrings, the back of our thigh. Now I'm just going to turn my chair around, and we're going to have a seat at the very edge of the chair, or bench or couch, whatever that you have available. So sitting at the very edge of the chair, I'm going to extend one of my legs out at a time and making sure our toes are facing up to the ceiling. So we have a flexed foot position. And with both hands at a time, I like to kind of overlap my hands. You're going to reach towards your toes at the same time and hold just where you feel that slight stretch. You obviously don't want it to be too painful, but it's going to feel like you're stretching that back of your thigh, the back of your leg. Again, remembering to breathe. This is a common one for people to want to hold their breath too. As you're holding the stretch, you might feel your muscle begin to relax and allow you to stretch a little bit further, and that's a good thing. So allow you to go a little bit further into the stretch. Very good, and we're going to switch the legs now. So bring that leg back up, and you can extend your other leg. If you find it very uncomfortable to extend it all the way, you can feel free to keep that leg slightly bent during the stretch, but also making sure that you have your toe facing up towards the ceiling as well. Both hands together, and you're going to reach towards your toes together. Again, remembering to breathe through this stretch. If you don't like doing this stretch on the chair and you feel comfortable going down to the ground, you can go down to the ground and do this stretch on the ground. The longer you hold the stretch, the more benefit you're going to get out of it. Very good. All right, so we're going to stand up again. I'm going to turn my chair around so I can hold on to the back of it again. The next stretch is going to be for another lower body stretch, our calf muscles. So this muscle can be quite tight if we're walking around quite often. So this is a very good one to do daily, especially after your walks. So you're going to stand facing the chair. I can hold on to the back of the chair with both my hands, and you're going to step back with one leg. That front leg can bend, and you're going to keep the back leg fairly straight. If you can extend your knee all the way, that's awesome. Making sure your toes are facing forward. So just look down. See that your toes are facing both forward. That back toe, I'm going to give you an example here, sometimes likes to turn out away from the forward direction. So turn it back into the forward direction. And when you do, you are going to feel your calf muscle stretch. And that's the bottom, the lower leg. If you don't find that it's stretching enough, bend that front leg even further. Go deeper into the stretch. Again, breathing in and out as you're stretching. Whether your body is forward or up, it doesn't make a difference. You can do this holding a wall if you want, if you don't have a chair readily available. Very good. You're going to bring that leg back up, and you're going to switch sides. So the other leg is now going to step back. That front leg can bend. Extend your back leg, extend that back knee as straight as you can. Both toes are facing into the forward direction, so you can have a look down, making sure that they are both facing forward. And bend that front knee. The more you bend that front knee, the more you're going to feel that stretch in your in the back of your leg. Also, another reminder is keeping your heel, both heels on the ground. A tendency for that back leg is to have the heel come up. The tighter our calf muscles are, the more it's going to want to lift off the ground. So making sure that you're keeping your heel in the ground. Very good. All right, so this is going to be another lower body stretch. It's for our Achilles tendon. So this is even further down. This tendon attaches our calf muscle down into our heel. This tendon can become quite tight, especially if we're standing and we're walking around a lot of the day. So a lot of people in professions where they are on their feet and walking around often can have some inflammation and tightness in this tendon. So it's very, very important to stretch it. So it's going to be in a very similar position as that calf stretch. You're going to step back, but not as far back. So it's just a very short step back, and you're going to bend both legs at the same time. Remembering to keep both heels on the ground, and the further you bend, the more you're going to feel a stretch in your Achilles tendon on that back heel. If you don't quite feel it yet, feel free to step back a little bit further in your stance, making sure both toes are facing forward, bending both your knees. You might need a little bit of help while leaning onto the back of your chair or the wall for this stretch. Don't force the stretches too much. You just want to feel a slight stretch. It should feel a little uncomfortable, but not painful when you're doing these stretches. Let's switch sides now. Step back with your other foot. You don't need to have quite a large step as the calf stretch that we did previously. And you're actually now going to bend both knees at the same time, keeping our heel onto the ground. And I'm using quite a bit of help with this chair for my balance during these stretches. I think I forgot to mention that if you have a walker, feel free to use the walker in the locked position while holding on for the stretches, especially if it's a walker with wheels. Very good. Okay, so we're going to step away from our chair, but feel free to keep using it if you need it for balance for our next exercises. So the next one is going to be a side lunge. I'm just going to step forward away from the chair, but again, holding on if you still need it for balance. So the side lunge is you're going to take a nice big wide step. So you've got a narrow or a wide stance right now, and I'm going to bend one knee while keeping the other knee straight. I should really feel the stretch on my inner thigh in this straight leg. I can hold on to my knee if I need to, just to get into a deeper lunge, into this deeper side lunge. You can also see here that both my toes are still facing forward. If you want to feel a bigger stretch, you can just simply expand your stance to feel a bigger stretch. So I've got my hands on my knees for balance, but I can have my hands on a wall. I can have my hands on the back of my chair if I wish. So let's switch sides. So I'm going to come back up into my middle position, and I'm going to bend my other leg now. I'm going to put my hands on my knee for some support. Remembering to breathe through the stretches as well. Again, I'm feeling that stretch on my inner thigh. Okay, we're going to come back up into that middle position. We can bring our feet closer together. So the next one is going to be a forward lunge now. So I'm just going to step facing this wall here so I can show you kind of what it looks like. And I'm going to take a big step forward. It's going to be kind of like our calf stretch again. But we're focusing on now our hip for this stretch. I want to bend my front leg. My back leg, it doesn't necessarily need to be fully extended, but the idea now is I want to think about tucking my tailbone underneath me. So bringing kind of our hips forward, keeping that front knee bent. And now I'm starting to feel a stretch in the front of my hips. These are our hip flexors that we want to stretch. If you have a seated job or you sit down for long periods of time during the day, these hip flexor muscles can become very, very tight. So this is a very, very important stretch to do. So again, I've got my hips tucked under. I'm pushing my hips forward. I can really feel that stretch in the front. And you can hold on to a chair or something for balance if you need to. Okay, I'm going to step feet together again. I'm going to switch up sides so that other leg goes behind me. You can see here that I do have my heel off the ground. That doesn't matter. It's allowing me to get a bit of a further stretch in my hips. So that front knee is forward, or the front knee is bent, sorry. And I'm going to tuck my hips under and push them a little bit forward. Tuck that tailbone under, and I should feel that stretch along the front of my hip. It's a bit of an awkward position, but it's a very, very good one. Very, very good stretch. The more of the stretch I want to feel, the deeper I'm going to bend into my front leg. Very good. All right, so the next one I'm going to need my chair again, and I'm actually going to be seated in this chair. So it's helpful to sit at the very edge of our chair, so come all the way as far forward as you can. Knees are going to be bent, and this next stretch is going to be for the outside of our hip. Again, this one can be very, very tight, especially for males. Just the way the structure of our bodies, our hips can become very, very tight. So we're going to take one leg and we're going to bring our ankle up to our knee. So resting your leg on the knee. Our knee is bent. This position alone can feel like a stretch for most people. So you can hold it there if you wish. Sometimes it can be helpful to take your hand and just gently press that knee down, and you'll feel a stretch doing that. If you don't feel that, then you can start to bring your body towards your legs and bend forward into that position. I'm still kind of pressing slightly down on the inside of my knee here, down towards the ground. Just holding that, making sure you're breathing. I'm really feeling that stretch in my hip joint. All right, so I'm going to switch legs. So you bring that leg down to the ground, and I'm going to bring the other ankle up to the top of my knee. If that is a little difficult for you to do, you can start with an extended leg. Bring the ankle up to the knee, and you might feel a stretch with my leg extended, and then you can slowly bring that knee up to the bent position, and that can be helpful as well. So I'm going to just gently press down on my knee. I need a little bit of an extra stretch, so my body is going to go down towards my legs and hold it there. Making sure we're breathing. Very good. So the next stretch we're going to do is for our shoulder muscles. I'm going to remain seated, but feel free to stand if you wish. It can be done either way. So we're going to bring our arm across our chest just like so. The elbow can be slightly bent. We're going to take our other hand and just grasp the elbow just around the elbow and pull that arm a little bit closer to our body. And we should start to feel a stretch in the outside of our shoulder muscle. I have on this extended arm, my thumb is facing towards the ceiling as well. Just gently stretching this. Should not feel painful. Making sure we're breathing. Switch arms. So the other arm is now going to extend and come across our chest. Other hand is going to come around our elbow to pull into our body just gently. We should feel that stretch on the outside of our shoulder. So this last stretch we're going to do is for our chest muscles. I'm going to stand up so that you can see a side view of the stretch. So to stretch our shoulders can be a little difficult sometimes, depending on what you have around you. You can actually even go into a doorway with your arms open so that the outside of the door, your hands are on the outside of the door, and you walk through the door and hold and kind of push your body through the doorway and hold that position. We don't have a doorway right now to show you, so I'll just do a modified version of it. So I'm going to kind of reach behind my back as much as I can, grab your hands together, clasp them together, and just try to extend your elbows. If you can't, that's fine. You might just feel a stretch just grabbing your hands behind your back, and that's not a problem. Extend those elbows and try to kind of hold that position. Again, the chest muscles can become quite tight if you work at a computer all day. We want to make sure that we're always stretching these muscles because you can become quite hunched forward and those muscles can become quite tight. So it's important that you try some chest stretches. Another one you can do is simply hold your arms out to the side and then just open up and try to press those hands out with your thumbs up towards the ceiling. And you might feel a stretch just doing that. So that concludes our stretches for today. Thank you very much for following along. If you have any questions about any of the stretches today, please feel free to contact your exercise therapist about maybe including more stretches into your daily routine, or you may feel free to contact us at our email, which is cardiacrehab@southlakeregional.org. Thank you very much for tuning in. See you next time.